Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. Yeah, you know what it is. Hard worker, scrappy, unfiltered, and sometimes unhinged football content. Hard to explain, but you know it when you see it. Doing it daily our way. I don't know what you're talking about right now. Redraft and Dynasty Fantasy Football, we got you covered. You know their defense is ranked like 31st in the NFL? NFL draft prospects and rookies? Now you know you in the right place for that.
Absolutely.
All right, then stop saying it. Then we're done. And prop bets with my man Jay Rich. Count that money, man. Now wipe the crust out of your eyes. Get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake your ass up with Ray G. You honestly are making absolutely no sense and you sound silly as hell. Let's get it. Good morning, 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 good people. It is Monday, August 15, 2022. Y'all decided to wake up with Ray G. And for that, I appreciate y'all being here. I hope you had a fantastic freaking weekend. Hope you enjoyed it, chilled out, played, enjoyed preseason football. We are back. We did not have a show on Friday. Went to the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton. Yes, went to the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, so no show on Friday, but we were not going to miss y'all today here on Monday. We are limping into the show, literally limping into the show. Jay Rich, man, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. It was a long road. You know, we talked about how we were just together sharing a pizza late night 30 hours ago. And we talked about, are we going to do the show? Are we going to make it? We got to travel, get home, all these things. But we couldn't let the people down. We had to show up today. So obviously happy to be here for the people. Good morning to everybody. But obviously the weekend was the highlight for sure. Whether it was football, whether it was us hanging out, the expo, a lot of fun, but happy to be here for the people. Lots of things to talk about. You know, people are already talking about Antonio Gibson's fumble. We talked about that a lot. You know, Drake London, small injury, Zach Wilson, but we're here to do the rookie report. This is why you guys are here. We talk rookies. We analyze it from the very first week all the way through the season. So we have the most information possible and make the best decisions.
Yeah.
How you doing, Ray? How you
feeling? We got a lot.
Feeling?
There is a lot, man. We had every team played. So like preseason is here, right? We got 2 more games. Preseason is here. Definitely the highlight of the weekend. For everybody out there listening, man, like if you're listening to the show, you're a fan of fantasy football first and foremost. I highly encourage going to Expo next year, man. Just meeting so many different people, Jay. I met a lot of people I look up to. I mean, of course, the GOATs are out there, the Scott Fishes of the world, and the Ryan McDowells and the Rich Rebars, and you know all the OGs are there. But man, just getting to interact with people that will never create content, right? They're not content creators, but they just consume fantasy content. Honestly, the best part of the weekend for me was people just walking up and saying, "Man, like I check out your stuff. I've been watching for years, man. It's great to meet you." And we took time to visit with everybody that wanted to talk to us, take pictures. It was really cool. I encourage everybody to go out there. Biggest piece of news, you and I got to meet for the first time. People did not know. We've been doing shows together 3.5 years, and we finally met for the first time. You and I finally getting a chance to meet, man. Just, it was awesome, man. I love you like a brother, man. I want to say that early this morning. We got to meet, but we got some serious news here. This player is officially droppable in all formats. Drop this player. You don't want him in Dynasty. He was hurt, and it's over. The career's done. Hang it up. Read the news, Jay.
Ray Garvin out indefinitely. Ray GQ suffered a torn left Achilles, and is out indefinitely. You know, Ray, there's a lot of hype. Obviously, you see the photo.
A lot of hype.
I was there to create content. We were there to create content for the people. It was short-lived, to say the least.
It's over.
You know,
it's over.
We went through a lot that day. You know, from hanging out to having fun, warming up. Boom, Achilles gone. ER, late night, CVS drive-through.
I mean, what are you doing with me in Dynasty at this point, Jay? I mean, what is there? Are you dropping me? Are you hanging on for the comeback? What are you doing with me in Dynasty?
Ray, I got to be honest, man. 35-year-old cornerback, hasn't played in a few years, torn Achilles. I just think we got to move on. I think, you know, sell for what you can get, but if you can't get a 4th rounder, he's droppable. That's okay. We just got to be honest. We are not. We don't play favorites around here. We got to do. Roster clogger.
Scott called me a roster clogger at this point. Carpentier was there, teammate, a lot of hype. The hype was there. It was like Travis Etienne. We were all excited to see it. and 1 catch, 3 yards.
Game winner, though.
Game-winning catch for 3 yards, and that on the Hall of Fame field. We're going to go ahead and hang it up. But yes, torn, ruptured Achilles, popped it, walked off, no crying, no tears, walked out of the state, walked up the stairs into the car on a torn Achilles, man. It was my Black Mamba moment, man. Rest in peace, Black Mamba. But your boy is good, man. Like I tell everybody, man, it was I thought somebody kicked me in the calf. Like literally, we were just watching the video before we got on the show. I could have sworn, like, you had $1 million in front of me. I was like, damn, who the fuck is behind me, man? It's flag football. Why are you stepping on my calf? And then we watched the video, and, Jay, it just looks like it looked just regular, right? Like I just catch it and turn up, and boom, there it goes. But that's not going to stop the train, baby. We're going to get in, get the surgery done, come back season, and we'll be back next year. But, yeah, torn Achilles. I'm out of there. And there goes Troy. Walking up fucking the stadium stairs with a torn Achilles, just beast mode. But appreciate all the well wishes. But your boy's doing good. Jay, we gotta get to some of the players though. Some of the actual players. I am going to retire. At least you can say this, Jay. Everything that I talked about, the quads are indeed big. I look good out there. Looked like I was going to do some work, but Father Time said, sit your old ass down. You played college football back in 2004. You ain't got it no more, Pops. So, but let's talk the big piece of news, man. And I don't know if my girl Joe is in here. First of all, I didn't say good morning to the people, but good morning to everybody in here. I see Marlon, Alex, Lindsey Mack was in the building. I saw Troy, Chad, Jay. Jay said he sold GQ the first 2 weeks. Oh, God, first week of last season. Damn, man, just cold-blooded. 5-star Pete in the building, Ro, John, Patrick, James, all the good people in the building. But, Jay, on Friday night, man, the chatter, the talk, was it Friday or Saturday? The Antonio Gibson fumble heard round the world, man. Antonio Gibson fumbles the ball on like a routine tackle, ends up playing all the way into the second quarter. I know we got to talk Gibson before it kind of fades into a rookie, right? But Brian Robinson comes in. B-Rob looks good. B-Rob's rushing well, making defenders miss, punching in touchdowns. Gibson plays damn near the whole second quarter with the 2s.
Yeah.
Instant reaction to this. And listen, it's one preseason game, y'all. Don't overreact. We will overreact for the show, but don't overreact. But in this case with Antonio Gibson, and I talked to Carpentier about it. I talked to Cody. I said, Cody, hey, man, like I like Gibson too. But if he's not going to hold on, the issue with him, can't hold on to the ball. They find a guy that can hold on to the ball, that played running back in college. Where you at with Gibson, man? This is not good for Antonio. I don't care if it's one preseason game. If anything, it makes it even worse that you're doing that in the preseason, right? Where are you at with Gibson and Brian Robinson? What are we doing with this situation, man? I think this is problematic at this point. It is. I am on alert. I am on high alert.
I mean, for me, I think the problem is that this is something that we knew he needed to clean up. And when he had an opportunity to do that, he showed that he's not really working on that. And I'm not going to blast him for fumbling. He was getting tackled by like 4 guys. Someone punched it out. But this is just something you can't have. You're known for fumbling issues. Your coach has come out and said, we have to protect the rock. They draft somebody in the 3rd round who is known for having secured with the football with his hands. Now, on top of not just fumbling, but you get benched in preseason, Brian Robinson comes in and looks good. I think this is just confirming the thought that initially we said, Brian Robinson's just going to kind of spell Antonio Gibson. Well, maybe he's not. Maybe he's legitimately going to get a decent workload to where Gibson is just okay. He may only get somewhere like 180, 200 carries. We need him to be in the 250 plus 30 receptions to really be fantasy viable for us overall. Because on top of that, Brian Robinson might get that short yardage work. He may get that goal down work. So I think we need to be concerned, because if Gibson's just going to be a between the 20s runner, he's not that useful in fantasy. And that's the big problem for him right now.
If he might not get the between the 20s if he can't hold like that's. And it was not being tackled by. He got tackled by a guy and then the ball just gets punched out. But the issue is that was his problem last year, right? Was not being able to hold on to the ball. I was not the biggest Brian Robinson fan coming out of Bama, man. Like, 1-year guy, not super bursty, not super lateral quickness. but he is
Good enough,
the
though. He's good enough.
quintessential, just good enough guy to be on the field. He's going to be where he's supposed to be. He's going to hold on to the ball. He can catch it. He's got the size to play on the goal line. This is bad. This is very bad for Antonio Gibson. I don't know if there's any other way to say it, man. I don't think there's a shot in hell Washington gives him a second contract. So I think he's going to be, I just don't, why? They just invested the same draft capital in a better running back in the traditional sense of the world. Not better athlete, not more explosive, doesn't have the game-breaking abilities, Antonio Gibson, but just trust to play the position. This is it's scary hours for one Antonio Gibson. I'll leave it at that. Thursday, the preseason games, we had the Giants, and then the Giants, Patriots, Titans, Ravens. Quick thoughts, and yeah, Scott said he's Jamal Williams, right? And I've been saying that for a while. He's going to be the most annoying player in fantasy because he's going to be on the field, he's going to get work, and we can't ignore him now. This is, it just seems like Gibson, Miles Sanders, Josh Jacobs are all on this trajectory where they're going to be on new teams after their current contracts are up with their respective teams. But let's real quickly hit on anything from the Giants besides... Again, we said it last week. I don't want any piece of that offense besides Saquon Barkley, man. It's going to be bad, at least this year. You're talking Reed. I don't want any Kenny Golladay, lackadaisical running routes. Wandell was out there. Darius Slayton getting the ball early, and then Daniel Jones. There's some good, but there's more bad than good when it comes to Daniel Jones just about every time that he's on the field. The Patriots, no Mac Jones. We saw that James White retired. Ramondre looks like he's going to be the guy, and rumors about Damian Harris being traded swirling like crazy. But I really want to jump to the Titans-Ravens game because I want to talk about Malik Willis, Jay, because he was sort of like the real big buzz off of Thursday, and we didn't get to do the show on Friday. So just your quick initial thoughts on Malik Willis and how he looked and how you're expecting the season to play out for him, because I think unless Tannehill gets hurt, I still don't think he's going to play. I don't think he's not pushing for a starting job. But when you see the scramble, when you see the arm strength, this is the tantalizing sort of skill set that we think he could potentially get him drafted in round 1. Ultimately ended up falling to round 3. I think if we had to redo the NFL draft, maybe a couple of teams maybe say, you know what, we'll take a shot on that guy in the second round, right? The talent. What were your thoughts on just seeing some of the Malik Willis highlights running around, the arm strength? Where you at with Malik?
I thought it looked really good. I think the biggest thing was we were unsure as how did the skills translate to the NFL level. And while it's only preseason, it was good to see he didn't look overmatched, right? He looked like he could compete out there. He made an awesome deep throw. You saw the rushing ability. It was weird, though, to see Vrabel kind of criticize him after the game. I don't know if you saw that. He was talking about how he wanted him to throw the ball more. You hope there's not tension between coach and quarterback. Maybe they're looking for different things during the preseason. But I think from Malik's standpoint, to come out, show out the way that he did, obviously, tons of people noticed. It was pretty much all people were talking about on Friday. So good to see him show out. Looked like he wasn't overmatched, and I'm hoping that can continue. We'll see if he can get a lot of reps in preseason because I don't think Tannehill's going to get a ton. So hopefully we'll see quite a bit of Malik against pretty decent defenses, second-team defenses, maybe even a little bit of first team, and see what he can really do against some good defenses because I think, like you said, the skill set's there. Would I buy in fantasy quite yet? Probably not, but I mean, it was encouraging for sure to see him do some good things.
Still a lot to clean up, right? There's still a lot of development. There was a play, I believe, Treylon ran it was a deep comeback route, hitch route, and he was open, and Malik missed him. He had a clean pocket, missed him. Vrabel said, "Hey, I want him to throw the ball. I know he could run around," but that's playing at Liberty and then playing in the NFL. And I don't care if it's preseason or not. The fourth stringers, third stringers for the Ravens are better than anybody that he faced within his conference of whatever conference, the independent conference, whatever Liberty is in. So it was encouraging, right? Encouraging to see Malik Willis out there. Then you move on to Friday, and I think there was a lot of good stuff out of the Atlanta-Detroit game. First of all, DeAndre Swift was getting run. Swift looked good. Amon-Ra St. Brown looked good. And then from the Falcons side of the ball, Mariota had a couple of nice drives. Desmond Ridder came to freaking play. Desmond Ridder showed up, led the team in rushing, and had 103 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. He balled out. Drake London with a nice catch early in the game from Mariota. I think it was a 25-yard crossing route. Ended up banging up his knee. Jay, any report on him? I heard it wasn't serious. It was minor injury. They're taking precaution with him. Nothing to be alarmed about with Drake London.
Yeah, he's supposed to. I think he's supposed to miss practice at least this week. They just talked about him missing practice, so he's not necessarily going to be practicing, which isn't great. But yeah, we'll see if it actually impacts him playing in the games. But yeah, they said it's probably not serious, should be fine. But he's going to miss practice. How much practice we don't know yet. It could be this week, potentially even into next week. But right now, it's just missing practice and potentially missing a game this week, and we'll kind of see from there.
All right, I guess Austin Slayton wants some time today in front of the camera, so let me give it to him real quick. He says, "What are you saying? He looked good rushing, question mark. He made one good throw, couldn't get off the first read. It's not about a rookie making every single play. If that was your expectation, that he was going to go out there and make every right read and make every right play in limited duty, then you're delusional. That's not it, right? It's seeing the special play that he made and saying, there it is right there, right? We just said he still has a lot of development to do. He missed reads. Treylon Burks was open. But when you see him reverse field and outrun defenders and get it in for a 17-yard touchdown run, that's a play that you can give that to Mac Jones 10 times and he makes it 0. That's a play you tell Ryan Tannehill to make and maybe he can get that off one time. You tell other, like, that play was a special play. You see the traits that he has, that if he can put those things together, that's what makes him a tantalizing prospect. But also, that is the reason why we knew he was developmental coming out of Liberty. That's what I'm saying, Austin. Just want to clarify for you in that regard. Now, somebody was talking about the Detroit O-line. Yeah, they're going to eat. Swift looked good. Tyler Algier, you were asking, did he play? Yeah, he played. Had a nice, good run, average 8.3 a carry. Jay had a nice little run to the right side. I know he worked with like the 5th unit or whatever like that, but yeah. I fully expect by the time we get to the nitty-gritty, Tyler Algier is probably going to be heavily involved, or at least involved in that rushing attack, especially in today's NFL where they're not just throwing out one running back and saying, you go get it, right? Deshaun Watson, we were in Cleveland for the return of Deshaun Watson and, looked like he hadn't played football in a little bit, right? Looked like he hadn't played football in a little bit. Did that rollout, looked good on the rollout, overshot a guy. I think Anthony Schwartz dropped a ball or two, so I'm not going to put a ton on, I'm not going to say he just was awful, but Schwartz didn't look good. But the Browns went out there. Jerome Ford had a couple of big runs. The Jaguars, your boy Travis Etienne and Trevor Lawrence, first they weren't going to play. Then they play a lot. Etienne looked explosive, right? Looked explosive. Looks like he's back from the foot injury. That's what's most important. Yeah. Etienne looked fine. I know there are a lot of people talking about he missed a hole and missed an alley. It's preseason week 1, man. It was the first live tackling to the ground. He looked explosive, which is good. Trevor Lawrence threw a couple of balls. What are your thoughts on any of those guys, man?
ETN, like you said, it's the vision, right? Which were some concerns coming out of college. Trevor Lawrence did look pretty good, though. He wasn't the most accurate, but I think we saw him make some nice plays, and that's what we want to see and continue to build on that. Seeing both of them together on the field obviously was good. I think the biggest story in that game was honestly Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford had himself a game, 10 carries, 57 yards and a touchdown, 4 receptions, 45 yards through the air and a touchdown. This is the dual threat ability that we've seen from Jerome Ford throughout his college career. And to see him play like that in the preseason, even against the 4th stringers, man, you don't see guys putting up damn near 100 yards in a preseason game that often. So doing it through the air, he led his team in rushing and receiving. Yes, it is the Browns, but there's already Kareem Hunt potentially wanting out. If a Nick Chubb injury happens, we always talk about this. Dearness Johnson is an option there. But I'm not saying you got to have Jerome Ford, but to see him show like that is good. It's encouraging.
And it's funny because I don't know if it was on this show or if it was in the Discord, whereas I hadn't heard a lot about Jerome Ford. I was just and it wasn't a bad. I just said I hadn't heard a lot out of camp with Jerome Ford. There was a lot of Kareem Hunt rumors, and I'm hearing Dearness Johnson. Dearness Johnson got the start, but I had not heard a lot about Jerome Ford, good or bad. So I was really anxious to see him in that one long run where he cut back. He looked good, and that's one of the things at Cincinnati. The speed. I know he didn't test as fast as a lot of people thought, having that track background. But Ford looked really good, Jay. This probably gives Cleveland the incentive to say, Kareem, we're not paying you, man. We got Dearness, we got Nick, and we drafted Jerome Ford in the 5th, 6th round of the NFL draft. We'll pay him pennies and give him carries if need be. So thought he looked good, and I'm still excited about ETN, man. He looked explosive, and I'll tell you this. Missed the hole, hit the hole, whatever you want to say. If he gets an inch, you can tell he's probably gone.
Oh
like
yeah.
he's got legit juice. So that was fun to see, fun to watch. Probably some of the most hyped players this preseason playing in the same game from the Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers. Trey Lance got on the field. Then we got to see Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs did what he apparently has been doing all damn training camp, which was catch long passes, get open, score. I think he had like 3 for 40 and a touchdown. Trey Lance, Trigger Trey going deep to Danny Gray, running the ball. I mean, arm fatigue, my ass. We continue to talk about all these quarterbacks, the Bryce Youngs, the CJ Stroud, Will Levis, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, and we talk about the logjam at the top of the Dynasty rankings, right? Talk about the logjam. How the hell is Bryce Young going to be a top 8 quarterback when there's Lamar and Burrow and Herbert and Mahomes and Allen and Kyler and that's 6 right there, right? That's 6 right there. Who's that guy that could push themselves into elite quarterback territory? And the answer has been, still is, it's Trey Lance. Like, that's the guy that can push himself this season to be a top 8 type option because of what he can do on the ground. You see the sports books have already moved his rushing yard line up. It was 475. 3 weeks ago, we told you, use the promo code WAKEUP, smash the over on Trey Lance, over 475 rushing yards. It's up to 500 and something rushing yards for Lance now. You see the fatigued arm going deep to Danny Gray. I don't know if Danny Gray is going to be a usable fantasy asset, but you're talking about from a team schematic standpoint, that type of field stretcher to clear shit out for Kittle and for Ayuk and Debo. This offense could just be awesome. And I believe it was Dwayne McFarland. Shout out Dwayne, PFF, met Dwayne in person in Canton. He talked about he talked about, the AFC West and the NFC West and how those two conferences play each other this year, like their division matchups.
Oh,
and
really?
For the first time in I think it was 20-something years or something, some long period of time in the books, like every one of those games are projected implied team total of 50 points or higher. So when the Niners and the Raiders play, when the Niners and the Niners and the it's gonna be fun. Points galore. Trey Lance looked good. Romeo Doubs looked good. Jordan Love. When we looked, he had 2 or 3 interceptions in the second quarter.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what to think about Jordan Love. He played a lot. But Danny Gray was moving. Trey Lance looked good. Trey Sermon looked not good. What were your thoughts? Are you in on somebody's asking, are you in on the Lance train now? Mike Anderson coming for you early on Monday. He said you were hating on Lance. Mike Anderson said you were hating on Lance.
I was hating on Lance at cost. And people always mistake this argument. I was hating on Lance at cost. His cost came down. I made a video for Player Profiler saying we should be in on Trey Lance.
You did.
I drafted Trey Lance in Scott Fishbowl. So I'm just saying the upside is obviously there. He look great? Absolutely. He looked phenomenal. And I think we're going to see a lot of this year. It's good to see that not only is he playing well, but it didn't look like he was trying to run the ball, right? They're trying to make sure that he gets his reads. He throws the ball on time and all those things because that's really what he needs to work on. We know he can run. And during the season, he's going to run a lot. But in the preseason, you want to see him hit those reads, make those throws. And obviously, the Danny Gray throw was the one that Jimmy Garoppolo ain't making that throw, right? So it adds a dimension to the offense that they haven't had for years and what they needed with Trey Lance. And I think I want to quickly circle back to our conversation on Wednesday. This is why if Anthony Richardson hits, he could be the guy that could hit that ceiling, right? You talked about Bryce Young, you talked about CJ Stroud. If Anthony Richardson hits, this is what we're looking at. So I think that people need to remember that you need this.
Keep it going. Go to Jalen Hurts. Go to the next rushing. Go to Jalen Hurts. I mean, just keep the shit going.
Jalen Hurts looks damn good. He looks ready to play this year, man.
Boom, 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 boom. Touchdown. Get him off the field. We've seen enough.
Yeah.
With no Devontae Smith. A.J. Brown didn't have a grab.
I'm excited, man.
A.J. Brown didn't have a grab.
We've been in on Hurts this year, and a lot of people are in on Hurts. But I think, again, we talked about how if he gets everything in place, man, he's still a good quarterback. He just needs to, get it all together. And I think the biggest thing that people forget, they talk about the rushing, Sirianni wants to throw the ball. At the beginning of the season, they're throwing the ball a lot. And he's like, okay, it's not going to work. They cut that shit off. They started running the ball. If Hurts is this confident and throwing the ball this well, he could be an easily.
Let's not overreact. It's one preseason game.
But
Listen,
it's the
Philly's a
confidence though.
problem.
I love
Philly's
to
a
see the
problem.
confidence, man. They're a good team.
Defensively,
They could be a
they're
good team.
good. Their offensive front is good. AJ Brown was a godsend for, like, as much as people wanted Drake London or Treylon Burks or a rookie or Olave or any of that, like, trading for AJ Brown was just the best move they could have made. And listen, the Trey Lances of the world, the Jalen Hurtses of the world, this is why, like, those rushing, you talk about Anthony Richardson or Will Levis. This is why I'm still not all the way in on CJ Stroud right now being a top 5 quarterback that people are saying. Like, this isn't Ohio State
get there,
out
right?
there at the NFL, man.
Just with passing volume. That's the problem.
This is
like,
Philly.
You have to, at some point in the NFL in like the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to have a rushing floor to even be a top 10 quarterback. Like, unless you're Tom Brady or Matt Stafford, who are just throwing the ball a ton, throwing for a lot of touchdowns, you're going to need this. And that's, I think, the big thing that we're seeing and why you want a guy with at least a 300 rushing yard floor, a couple touchdowns. Like Dak for a few years was a guy who ran for 5 touchdowns a season. It's going to be a necessity for fantasy football, and people need to realize that for sure.
Let's just keep the quarterback train rolling. Let's keep going. I want to hit some of these rookies. Let's talk Sam Howell. And I know it was with fucking second, third stringers, but let's talk some Sam Howell. Do you think there's a chance Sam Howell plays this season? Like, do you think there's a chance he gets to start this season for whatever reason? Wentz's inefficiency, we're knocking on wood. We don't want anybody to get hurt.
To be fair, Wentz does put himself in some bad situations. Oh yeah, he looked pretty good in the preseason, but I think that Howell is going to get an opportunity, right? As much as we didn't like these quarterbacks that much, and the NFL kind of told us that, I think we know that at some point these guys will probably need to play so that teams can make a decision heading into next season, right, with what they want to do. But Howell, like you said, three carries, 19 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Like, that's what we saw in college. 800 yards, almost as much as Trey Lance. Like, this is what we saw in college, and he's doing that in the NFL now. Obviously, the throwing is going to need to be improved, the accuracy, all these things, the timing, but that can come over time. And I think he's going to play this season for sure. And I'm hoping we see it because I think he can be dynamic. It's just, how does he look with that time to sit and watch and learn? But I think that Howell's definitely going to get an opportunity this season for sure.
Yeah, I think Wentz will have to be real bad for consecutive weeks, like real bad. And I think Washington
or the team is bad.
Well,
right?
and I was going to say, Washington
Corral,
is just done. They're just out of it. They're not playing for anything, and they want to see can they cheaply Davis Mills this for a year and give him a year to see. I don't know. I think he's going to get a chance to get out there, but we'll see. And this is the thing. He's behind Heineke, right? And Heineke will play, but Heineke's kind of reckless, man. We'll see, man. How look good. Here's my thing with all the rookies. Any rookie, any veteran early in preseason, I would rather them be making plays and talking about them making plays and us overreacting than them fumbling the ball in the first quarter or dropping passes or not being able to hit the broadside of a barn. I would rather the narrative around them coming out of week 1 of the preseason to be in the positive than the negative. No matter if you call it overreacting or not, I would rather that happen. And speaking of overreacting, are we looking at the new Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown in Pittsburgh? Am I overreacting calling Kenny Pickett and George Pickens, the PP boys, the new Ben and AB? Ben and Brown, Pickett and Pickens? I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Kenny Pickett got in, and everybody was shitting on him. We came on this show, Sal Pickett. He's garbage. Yeah. You can't complete a pass in the first week of preseason training camp. And I admit, Jay, that was overreaction. Wake up.
That was mean.
That was overreaction after 2 days of training camp. But Kenny Pickett got out there, got his opportunity, and was dialed in. George Pickens goes out there and apparently just does what George Pickens does every day in practice and look good. And I know the pass was from Mason Rudolph that scored the touchdown, but just saying, when they got on the field, both of these young players played well. Where you at with old KP and GP?
I mean, with Pickens, it's the issue is that what do you do if you don't have him, right? Because a lot of people got him, and what are you selling him for? You're not selling him. The way he's looking right now, he should be the wide receiver.
Sold him for a first. Robert sold him for a first after the game.
I don't know if I would do that yet. I mean, again, we're not talking about where the first is or projects to be. Like,
we don't know.
I don't think that you want to sell him for that right now. I not to say that he's worth more. I think it's a pretty fair deal, but he was a borderline first round pick in 2022. right? So are we really going to sell a first round pick for a first round pick down the road for a guy who's already looking good? A lot of good reports about him. I wouldn't. As far as Pickett is concerned, I think I'm most concerned about Mitch, right? Mitch looked okay. He didn't look great. I thought Mason Rudolph looked all right, and then Pickett looked all right, which leaves the front office with zero clarity. They don't know what to do. It's Mitch's job to lose, but I think Pickett's fine. Is he going to get a ton of opportunity? I don't know. I could see them passing over. I think I could see them passing over Rudolph to play Pickett if Mitch fails.
Yes.
But to be honest, that throw that Rudolph made was perfect. Like, it was a dime right to the back corner pylon. Pickens got it. Twitter went crazy. I don't know if I'd be buying Pickens right now because the price would be high. It would be high.
We're talking 23 for how high is it? Cody Smith said, I'll try to sell Pickens for that 23 first, no takers. If all it cost was a second right now, would you do it?
Oh, absolutely.
Easy.
But I mean, would you? But I think if you wanted to trade your first and you really thought it was like a back end first, I don't think it's the worst thing.
No.
Like, if you really like him, I'm not saying you should do it, but if you really like him, you're all in on George Pickens. Like we talked about before, he projects to be the wide receiver 2 with Claypool in the slot. Is that actually going to happen?
Does he have a shot to be better than Deontay? Just asking. I'm just, not now, not this year, but next year. Could we be looking
the Steelers?
He's the Steelers.
To be the Steelers wide receiver 1. I think that's definitely within the realm of possibilities. And we know how fruitful that role is. And that's the thing, right? We can say, oh, well, we could sell him now, but the Steelers wide receiver 1 is a very good role to have. Very good role to have. But Deontay did get extended, and I think he's still the guy. We'll see if Pickens can overtake him. We've seen them jostle before with a lot of talented wide receivers, but I think if anything, we know that Claypool is probably gone more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yes, Claypool is probably gone. We talked a little bit about
how do you feel about Kenneth Walker in that game? If you want to talk about Kenneth Walker.
Who was it?
Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, talk about Kenneth Walker. What did Walker do? I admittedly saw nothing from Seattle, so I have no clue how Walker looked. I heard Drew Lock played well, but I don't know anything from like the Seattle side. I was zoned in on George Pickens. All I cared about was Pickens and Pickett. What did Kenneth Walker do? Apparently he caught some passes.
Yeah, I mean, he caught a pass for 11 yards. He looks pretty good. I think the biggest thing is that with Walker,
Ken Walker.
He likes to be called Ken. My apologies to Mr. Ken. But I think the biggest thing that you saw, and we'll talk about this with Isaiah Spiller as well, is that when we looked at his film, you're like, can he really read the holes and play the scheme well? And I thought he played really, really well. You saw the cutbacks, you saw the footwork, and I think that's what's going to separate him. Even though the offensive line is atrocious, which is going to be a problem, I think we've seen the vision and what he can do behind the line of scrimmage is going to make him successful in the NFL. I don't know what to do with him still. I'm still unsure about whether you should be buying him right now because he's going to struggle behind that offensive line. They look god-awful. But I think
I heard it was bad.
In limited action, he's going to be good this season. He'll make some big plays, but he'll have to do a lot behind the line of scrimmage, kind of like we saw with Najee last year. I think is a good call.
And isn't Rashad Penny hurt? Isn't Rashad Penny hurt?
Yeah, he's hurt right now. So I don't know when he's going to come back, if he's going to come back. But yeah, he's still hurt, and that's pretty on brand for Rashad Penny, right? So we'll see what happens. But Walker getting a lot of run with the first team, looking pretty good. So it's good for him right now and how he's projecting overall.
Speaking of bad offensive lines, what about Chicago, man? We joked about it on Wednesday with the prayer candle for Justin Fields. Darnell Mooney had a nice grab. That's what Darnell Mooney does. Like, I think, if I these bad teams, man, like, who do you want from Chicago besides, like, who do you want? I know you'll take a flyer on Tristan Abner and Khalil Herbert. I get it. Right?
I want Mooney, right? Like, I think that's just what it comes down to is,
yeah,
whether you like Mooney or not. Some people don't even think Mooney's that good. He's gonna get the volume. Mooney and Kmet are the offense right now. So I think that's the biggest thing is that I think you need to have.
Kmet. Excuse me, I forgot about Kmet.
Yeah, Mooney and Kmet are the two. I mean, I don't know if people call me a Fields hater, but like, I just don't know if I can be in on him this season because he's just going to have such a hard time. If he's not running like crazy, I'm not sure what he's going to be able to do, but again, we'll see it. And I hope he can get it right. But that offense is just terrible.
Yeah. I don't know if you can. Bad, man.
You're buying these guys because of projected volume, and that's it. Like, you can't project upside, ceiling. Like, to me, it's just you're buying them because they're going to get a lot of work. And you're praying that Fields can have enough time back there to throw the ball, and that's pretty much it. And if you want to roster him in fantasy, take him in redraft, whatever.
You have to.
He may be fine. Oh, I'm not saying you drop him or anything, but maybe you want to try and sell him. I just think that it's going to be very tough for Justin Fields. If he's not running a lot, it could be tough for fantasy. That's the biggest problem.
Yeah, everybody was tapped into this game, man, because, Mahomes got to play, and he threw 7 passes.
Yeah.
Like, he was on the field. He played, right? And that first-team offense was humming. I believe the running back room is what everybody's looking at.
Yeah.
I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 7 plays with
6
the
yards.
ones.
Right.
So, he had 7 plays with Mahomes, and then Pacheco had like 3 plays with Mahomes. I think McKinnon had a play with Mahomes, not carries, but like on the field with Mahomes. So, that running back room is a battle that we're watching, and it still looks like it's going to be Clyde up first, but Isaiah Pacheco is going to be a thing. Like, we're here now. He's cemented as the RB2. Ronald Jones played exclusively with the second and third team guys. 4 carries, 1 yard for Ronald Jones. You want them to play well, but I'm not going to dog anybody out for, not being able to get in a groove with 2 or 4 carries. But it looks like it's Clyde and Pacheco. Scott Moore looked good out there. Travis Kelce had a pass. The MVS caught a pass. The first team offense looked good. They're going to be, I don't want to say they're going to be just fine without Tyreek Hill, and he doesn't matter. I'm not saying that. But damn it, Patrick Mahomes, you're that guy. You're the Hall of Fame. Did you hear, speaking of Hall of Fame, did you hear the debate on ESPN with Ryan Clark and Mad Dog on First Take? Mad Dog said if Cooper Kupp retires today, he's a Hall of Famer.
Really?
If he and Ryan Clark got into it, that if Cooper Kupp retired, did not catch another pass, he'd be a Hall of Famer. I believe Cooper Kupp has 2 1,000-yard seasons under his belt, and he just had the greatest wide receiver season of all time. But that's kind of, I don't know how I got there from
I don't know if we can get there, but
I don't know how I went from Mahomes to Cooper Kupp.
So for me, I think, you can't do that. But how many more does he need? How many more does he need, though?
He's only got like 5,000 yards in his career. Like, he's not a Hall of Famer. He's
damn good, though.
Whatever he was smoking. Back to Mahomes, though. This is why Mahomes is the Hall of Fame caliber quarterback, right? Elevate these guys. I want to see quarterbacks be floor raisers. Can you lift up the MVSs? And as good as Scott Moore looks, he's still a rookie. Juju Smith-Schuster. I think the Kansas City offense is going to be fine. I think we have a very real problem in Chicago. And I know Cody Smith is in the building, and he's been fading the shit out of the Bears all offseason because the team is probably just not going to be good. Dameon Pierce, Jay, I got to talk about him, man. He looked good.
You all in.
I'm all in. He looked good. Marlon Mack, Rex Burkhead. If Dameon Pierce can't beat out those guys, right? And here's the thing, man. Like, I'm not sitting here saying Dameon Pierce is going to give us a 10-year career of being an RB1 or an RB2. But can he give me 2? Can he give me 2-3 years? That's all I need. That's all I need out of Dameon Pierce. Can he give me 2-3 years of production, right? And again, we're going to keep prefacing this. We're not overreacting, but damn it, we're overreacting. He looked good. He looked good versus the Saints. Cutback run, finishing strong. And the beautiful thing about Dameon Pierce is he's got so much tread left on his, because he didn't do shit in college. He's got so much tread left. He's fresh. He's used to carrying the ball 40 times a season, not getting any passes. He's ready to go. He's ready to go, man. And he looked good. He had that 31 on. He looked good. What do you think? And Houston, and I know it's a different coaching staff, but they've taken shots on guys, undrafted free agents, late round guys, giving them a shot. I remember Steve Slayton rushing for 1,000 yards. We all know Arian Foster, and the list goes on and on. So, Alfred Blue had a role in that backfield some years ago, right? I'm dating myself. Some of y'all young bucks probably have no clue who Steve Slayton is, Alfred Blue. But Dameon Pierce looks good, man. I asked our Discord last night, like, I'm not selling him for a random second. No, thank you. This dude's probably going to be the starting running back in Houston before the season is up. And if he's getting 15 to 18 opportunities a game, I want that dude, man. And he looked good.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is that I want to see what they do with this offense, because while Marlon Mack is, he's the running back right now, I still think that Dameon Pierce could have a role in the receiving game. People don't talk about it enough that he's still a pretty good pass catcher. And so I think it could be a bit of a 2-back system. Davis Mills obviously didn't play a lot in this game, which was a little bit surprising because obviously they're comfortable with him. And like you said, they're willing to put some guys out there that don't have the highest draft capital and all these things. And with this improved offensive line this season, they may have some legitimate running lanes. And we saw that Dameon Pierce was able to do some
What's his
things.
cost? Somebody said
I don't.
SPB Sports said his cost is too much. What's his cost right now? I didn't think it was that high. Let me know what his cost is.
I mean, to be realistic, Ray, are you gonna get him for a second? Probably not.
Am I gonna what?
Maybe. Would you get Dameon Pierce for a second? Like, do you think someone would sell him for a second?
I mean,
maybe.
Somebody obviously People are doing that. Yeah,
people might be, but I think that's a mistake. Honestly,
sold a piece for 23. Said, "Give me one of those guys." See, that's my thing. Like, I don't think I want you go draft Zach Charbonnet. What's Zach Charbonnet to Dameon Pierce, man? I don't know, man.
The same. It's the same thing in the situation, and you're just re-rolling it. You're just re-rolling. That's all you're doing.
Yeah.
And if Pierce does look a little bit better, you could get a little bit more for him. And so I'm not out on him yet. I think you made a lot of good points. Houston was one of those spots we wanted Ken Walker to go there badly because we thought that would be the spot that he could really thrive in. Dameon Pierce ended up there. Tyler Algier in Atlanta. These are the situations that we want to watch where there was running back opportunities to be had. And those are the two guys that I don't think I'd be selling quite yet in case there's a chance that they do get that full-time role, at which point you could sell them for a lot more than just a random second-round pick.
I'll tell you one of the more disappointing rookies that I saw came from my own team, man. Dallas Cowboys, Jalen Tolbert. 7 targets, 2 catches, 10 yards. Alligator armed the ball. Cowboys just look bad. More penalties again in the preseason, which plagued Dallas last year.
Yep.
I'm getting to a point now, man, where it's like, all right, you know the ones are going to be good. You know Dak's going to do his thing. CD's going to be good. Zeke's going to get his work. Pollard's going to get his work. Tolbert looked like a rookie. Whereas, we look at some other guys and they're like, damn, dude, I know he's a rookie, but he looked good. Pickens looked good, right? Yep. We looked at, just name another rookie that played well, right? Whether it's Sam Howell, whomever. We're like, Jalen Tolbert looked like a rookie, man. To me, what's alligator arm? When you're going across the middle, you know you're about to get hit and you don't extend for that ball because you know you're going to get hit and you just want to protect yourself. For me, I was really excited to see Tolbert because I knew they were going to target him a lot. And he led the team in targets, man. He had 7. Next closest was 4 targets for a running back. And, I just wanted a little more from our starting wide receiver in Jalen Tolbert. One game, don't want to panic, but didn't look all that great for Jalen Tolbert, and nobody else of consequence really played for Dallas. The Buffalo Bills and the Colts got on the field. Jonathan Taylor went nuts. JT did not play. Didn't play. Matt Ryan played. JT wasn't getting, they're not about to do that. Michael Pittman did his thing. People said Alec Pierce didn't look good. I saw nothing but highlights from Khalil Shakir, who had 5 for 92. That's all I saw. All I saw was Khalil Shakir and Matt Barkley, my USC Trojan Matt Barkley, leading that come from behind victory. But where are you at with Khalil, man? Another one of those late round wide receivers, later round day 3 wide receivers that we like going into the process, didn't get the draft capital, so we're like, not really in on him. He played
it's
well.
One of those things, man. He played really well, and I think that's one of those things you got to give certain people a lot of credit. There was a lot of good people who were on Shakir, and again, part of it is being in part of that offense, having Josh Allen, maybe not believing so much in Gabe Davis and Isaiah McKenzie potentially. If he's that 4th guy, Gabe Davis was that 4th guy for a while, right? Mm-hmm. And he became fantasy relevant very quickly. So I don't think we should just ignore what he's doing out there. You could say, late round draft capital, didn't have the athletic testing we're looking for, but he was good in college and he is showing out right now. And if he continues to build off this, we should monitor his situation and what he's looking like because I think
he might be the 3. I don't think he's going to be the 2. I don't think there's any overtaking Gabe Davis for the 2.
No. He's not going to. No. But the problem for him is that he can't really operate as the 3 because the 3 is the slot, right? The 3 is still going to be the slot. So he has to be either the 2 or the 1. He's obviously not going to be the 1. Could he get run if Gabe Davis gets hurt though? Absolutely. And that's why it's worth, seeing if you could maybe acquire him. If you have him on rosters, don't trade him away because he could have some value. I don't know, Ray, would you be trading Shakir if someone offered you a second right now for him?
Yes.
Yeah. I think you'd have to do that.
Yeah, I would.
But
I would. Now, Jeff said for anyone who didn't watch the Bills game, Isaiah Hodgins is a thing. Isaiah Hodgins, I liked him a lot coming out of Oregon State, man. I liked him a lot. I watched a lot of Pac-12 football. And then when he couldn't get on the field, it's just like, oh, man. But, I put film breakdowns on Isaiah Hodgins. I loved him coming out of Oregon State. So it's going to be interesting to figure out. I still think the starting 3, when it all said and done, at least at the beginning, it's going to be Diggs, Davis, and McKenzie. I think those would be the three to start out, but Shakir's going to get on the field. And Jeff, duly noted with Isaiah Hodgins. I've been here, baby. I'm glad you said he looked good, and I see he had 11 damn targets, so that's good. Matt Barkley, that the Pac-12 connection, getting it in there. And, yeah, the play I saw with Alec Pierce was your boy Kaiir Elam strapping him down on a slant, right? Absolute seatbelt. From Kaiir Elam from the Buffalo Bills. It's going to be a nasty DB combo once Trey White gets back on the field healthy and ready to go. We didn't talk much about the Bucks and the Dolphins. Tom Brady's on vacation. Tom Brady said, I just need to step away in the middle of training camp. I'll be back in 11 days, so no Tom Brady. There were some unfounded rumors about him considering retirement. We ain't about the fake news, that shit right here. He's stepping away, said the team is good with it, so there it is. Skylar Thompson got to play. No Waddle, no Tyreek, no Tua, nothing like that. Rachaad White got a little bit of work from the Tampa Bay side of the ball. Kyle Trask played a lot. I don't think there's anything like major. I think Rachaad White had a nice little reception, but it just caught the ball and get upfield, right? And then the Rams and the Chargers game, we got to see some Isaiah Spiller. Isaiah Spiller played 10 carries, 34 yards, made a couple of nice runs, but 3.4 a carry, that's not good. But Josh Kelly, 3 for 16. Larry Roundtree, 3 for 8. Looked like they wanted to get Spiller the ball. I think, say what you want. I think it's going to be inevitable, but that at some point he's going to be the number 2 running back there. He had 1 catch, 10 yards on 1 target, so did secure that pass. But, of course, from the Rams side of the ball, we saw nobody. I think they're the only team who only played 1 quarterback, like for the whole game. Bryce Perkins, kid out of Virginia.
And Skylar Thompson, too.
Yeah, Skylar Thompson as well. Skylar Thompson as well. I don't think there's anything else to really take away from the Chargers side of the ball. I mean, Joe Reed had a bunch of catches, but nothing. Palmer was on the field. He didn't do anything. Spiller was the name.
I mean, people talking
about
Spiller and Josh Kelly, right? Because Josh Kelly looked improved. And then Spiller, it's the footwork, right?
Yeah.
You're not in on Kelly?
No. No. That was a failed experiment. What, 2 years ago, a year ago? I think everybody knows what Josh Kelly is, and there's a reason why they're like, all right, you get the ball 10 times and we'll throw you a target, right? Then we had the Vikings and the Raiders yesterday, and everybody's favorite running back, Zamir White, coming off of that Hall of Fame game. Didn't do much in this one, 5 for 13. But on the Minnesota side of the ball, Jay, I've been telling people, Ty Chandler. On my film grade, I had him as a top, just on the tape, I had him as a top 10 back in the class. I think I was even higher. I think he had him like at 8 or something like that, just based on the tape. He went out there, looked explosive, not just in behind, as the running back, but in special teams. And the fact that he can show an ability to play on special teams only lends him making the roster. Normally teams keep 3 running backs. It's looking like it might be 4. Dalvin Cook, Alexander Madison, Ty Chandler, Nwangwu. And if Chandler gets practice squad or cut, like, he's going to get picked up, man. The explosiveness that you saw on tape at North Carolina, it came out on the field, man. So I'm happy Ty Chandler looked good. Another one of those guys in the 4th round of your rookie drafts, or maybe even free. There you go. Lindsey Mack said it right here. Got Ty Chandler at 404. Like, you might as well take him in the 4th round. And I know Nwangwu is the top returner, but having another body back there like Chandler that could, if he needs to go anywhere, if something happens to him, like that only helps with his outlook of making the 50, make the 53. Somebody asked about Kellen Mond.
Everyone's asking about Kellen Mond, right? Where are you at?
Go ask Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer said he saw enough. He didn't need to see Kellen Mond on the field. And Mond looked good, man. I got 9 for 14, 2 touchdowns. He only averaged 8.5 a throw, but that he's a young guy. He's not a rookie, but a second-year guy. Didn't take any sacks, ran the ball a couple of times. Can Kellen Mond be a thing? I'm just gonna say I think the answer is no, but
no,
he played well, right?
Yeah, no, he did play really, really well, and so I mean, got to give him credit for that. For a guy who his coach literally said, "I see enough of him in practice," is probably one of the worst endorsements I've heard in a press conference ever from a coach talking about their 3rd round pick as a quarterback. And to think, him and Davis Mills went back to back is pretty insane. But, give him credit. He's obviously been working. It's not much of anything, but maybe he can build off it, be a competent backup in the NFL. So again, I hope he can put it together because he does have, again, he's a guy who has a dual threat skill set. He can throw the ball pretty far. He has a big arm, not the most accurate arm, and he can run, right?
He's got a big arm. He's got a big arm.
Always worth knowing those guys. And if he is getting better, it's worth paying attention to. 2 touchdowns is nice. I think the Chandler is kind of the bigger story. And I was happy to see Amir Smith-Marset do something.
Yeah, that's your
guy
boy.
that I did really like out of Iowa. Yeah, I do really like him a lot. I still think, it'll be a lot of Thielen, a lot of Jefferson, a lot of KJ Osborne. Maybe he could operate as the 4, but, not going to do much for fantasy this season.
All right, and a quick look ahead this week. We got Chicago, Seattle on Thursday, so probably a little more Fields and get to see. I think I'm wondering with the switch with the preseason, and I don't remember from last year, but is preseason game 2 the game where most of the starters play, or is it preseason game 3 where most of the starters are going to?
Should be 2, right? Because 3 should be the last week where it's 4 stringers, roster cloggers, guys trying to make the roster, all that stuff. So
we should see a lot of. So we should see what like Chicago, Seattle, got Carolina, New England. We should see Mac Jones and all of those guys. We didn't talk about Darnold,
Mac
Baker.
Jones, hopefully, yeah.
Darnold and Baker both had their moments. Baker was with the starters. Darnold comes in, throws a touchdown pass. Baker had a fumble in that game. Didn't really get into that, but again, it seems like Baker's job to lose for Carolina at this point. So.
Absolutely, yeah. I think Baker looked good enough, right? He could have been a little bit better, but part of it too is he needs to learn the offense, and that's part of it too, right? Like Darnold's been in this offense for a long time, and he did show a little bit of something. I think that it was a little bit concerning to see Matt Corral go 1 for 9. Hope to see a little bit more from Corral, but again, hopefully he can build off it, have a good preseason. Not expecting a lot from him, but again, we talked about Sam Howell potentially getting some action on the other side for Washington. Matt Corral's a guy that if Carolina's bad enough, maybe we see him a little bit this season, but if he's not really showing much of anything, then we probably don't. So we'll see. And that's your boy, Matt Corral. Hopefully he can put it together.
That's my boy, but I don't know, man. We got a couple of super chats we got to get to. Let's do it. Here we go. 12-team super flex. I'm competing now. Sold a 23 late first, 110 to 112, in 3:23 seconds for Jalen Waddle and Fields. Still have 223 first. Any thoughts? Late 23 first and 3:23 seconds for Waddle and Fields. Yeah, I'll take a shot on Waddle and Fields for the 110 and 3 seconds. Yeah, give me Waddle and Fields. Good trade, man. I like that. And you're competing now. Waddle's going to give you an immediate. What are those 2 seconds going to do you, or 3 seconds right now? I mean, if that's all it costs to get fucking Waddle and Fields, if you're saying it cost me 3 seconds to get Fields and a first for Waddle, sign me up. So I think that was a good trade by you, man. Good job. Go win it. Go win it now. Use that Waddle and go win it. I just hope you got a better option at QB1 than Fields off the rip. I hope you got a better option than that off the rip. But I like it, man. Here we go. Jeff has one for us right here. Pickens or Garrett Wilson straight up. Interesting. We've been rerunning rookie mocks within our Discord, patreon.com/allgas. Dynasty Barry is rerunning. We're doing these mocks, just redoing the rookie class. Let's run it back. I think we did 6 mocks yesterday, and I don't believe Pickens was selected ahead of Garrett Wilson one time. I don't think so, Jay.
Would you take him?
Do it.
Would you do it?
I might do it. I mean, I had Pickens as my 5 coming in. The Jets, man, and we didn't get into Zach Wilson. Do we know what's wrong with him yet?
No, so he has to get the surgery. So I think he's getting the surgery sometime this week, and that's when they're going to confirm the PCL injury and no further structural damage, right? So he didn't tear his ACL because they did the test for that. As you're aware, there's the test for the Achilles, right? So they did do the ACL test. He's good. As far as that, it looks like he's clear. The MCL looking good. But they do have to repair the PCL. That's what they're projecting it to be. But they still want to go in, double check it. So when he actually gets the surgery, they're going to take a look at his knee and see, is there any further damage and what's his timetable looking like right now. They said, I believe, 6 weeks if it's just the PCL, but they need to actually confirm that with the surgery because the PCL is actually in the back. So they have to make sure there's nothing else going on with.
All right, here it is. Wilson was picked 4 through 8, Pickens 7 through 12. So not one time. Maybe one time, and that might have been the time that I took him over Garrett Wilson. I did. What are you just? What do you?
I don't want to go there yet. I think as much as I think that everyone's all on Pickens, and don't get me wrong, I'm with you. I think we should be in on him. I think if you want to put him ahead of Dotson, that's okay.
Is that ridiculous? My thing is going into last year. I mean, I even had Pickens as I think I had him as wide receiver 2 prior to the ACL. There were people out there who had him as wide receiver 1 prior to the ACL. So is it out of left field to be like, I would prefer George Pickens over Garrett Wilson and the Jets right now. I'm just asking.
No, it's a little hot takey. But I think, I think the bigger conversation for me is, would you take him at the top of his tier, right? We had him in a tier with Sky Moore, with Chris Olave, with Christian Watson wasn't really in that tier for us, but he was for other people, right? Not. So I think you would you put him over Sky? Because I think Sky is the guy that has a similar high ceiling, right? But playing with Mahomes, good offense, opportunity, all these things. That for me is the bigger conversation to see is where does he fit in, and would you bump him up to that next tier with Wilson, J-Mo, and Burks? I think is kind of where that tier is because we have London a little bit higher, right? But I mean, I think it seems like it's London, Burks, maybe Garrett Wilson. Would you take J-Mo or Pickens right now?
Treylon, man. All right, last superset. Still taking Treylon. Bigger concern, Antonio Gibson fumbling or the Cowboys penalties. They're equally concerning. They're both tier 1 concerns, both of them.
What? One matters for fantasy and one doesn't. Gibby's
the penalties matter.
When
Dak throws a touchdown to CeeDee Lamb and Tyler Smith gets called for a holding, it matters for fantasy, man. The penalties are bad. They're very bad. Yeah. I think they're equally concerning. I think they are both equally concerning, and it's something that plagued Dallas last year. And it just looks like it's going to be a problem this year. Jay, before we get out of here, Cole World said, I bet you guys are exhausted, but was the best, funniest story from the weekend? What do you think was the funniest story?
Man, we missed a lot, unfortunately.
We did miss a lot on Saturday. I don't know, man. This is hard. We probably got to think about this when it come back on Wednesday. I mean... I think for me,
I can only think of one, but we're not talking about it.
Okay. Well, for me, I really think the best part, it's not even a story, man. It's just the people that you interact with, man. The cats that I will never know, right? They've got letters on the YouTube videos, so you'll never see their face. They got an avatar, you'll never know who they are. Like, honestly, for me, the coolest thing is people walking up and saying, man, like, I love what you do. You get me through every morning. You and Jay are like, to me, that was the best freaking part of it all, man. We had a lot of funny things that were going on and just hanging out amongst one another. But I think the best thing, honestly, was just meeting the people that really fuck with you, man, that really rock with you, that really wake up and comment and engage. And again, they don't create content. They don't do any of that stuff, but they rock with you. And I think that was probably the coolest thing for me. Like, that was my best story, honestly. Like, it was hands down the best thing outside of meeting you, man. But appreciate everybody coming in. Appreciate everybody waking up with us today. Thank you all for the well wishes. GQ is on the road to recovery. I'm on that Cam Akers, James Robinson program, baby, because I got to get back on the field next year. Maybe. Yeah. Potentially. We'll see how that...
We need the content. People are asking for highlights.
I'll just wear the uniform. I'll just wear the uniform. I'll just wear the uniform. And somebody said it's 3 a.m., in Hawaii to watch y'all. I rock with y'all. Appreciate you, Loganja. We appreciate you tapping in. We'll be back tomorrow on Wednesday for the Wake Up Show. Make sure you subscribe to the All Gas newsletter. It's free. The link is in the description below. Check out all the content on the Destination Debbie podcast feed, 4D Chess, Off the Line Fantasy. We got an injury pod with Jeff Mueller coming up. Hit the comment button, comment, subscribe, comment for the algorithm. We appreciate y'all being here, and we'll be back on Wednesday. I'm out. Peace out.